Hello, welcome again to another episode of Schmucker Productions Podcast. We're here with Courtney, who is the lead singer of Tailor Made, which is a tribute to Taylor Swift. And we want to welcome her. How you doing tonight, Courtney?
I'm good. How are you, Sam?
I'm here, sweating.
Yes, welcome to the Midwest.
So tell all our viewers and everybody that hopefully will tune in and watch this. Tell us what you are passionate about being a tribute singer for Taylor Swift.
Gosh, what a loaded question. I mean, I'm passionate about so much. I'm a singer. I've been a singer. You know, it's a cliche thing to say that I've been singing since I was born, but it's true. Started classical training when I was in 6th grade, and then so I've sung my entire life, and have sung with so many different purposes, chorus, musical theater. I'm a musical theater gal. symphony. So I did classical stuff. So I've done so many things. Then I also was in a band from the time I was 12 until I was 21. And
Wow.
yeah. So when
So
I
wait a
was,
minute, hold on.
yeah.
Let's stop at the band. I want to jump back. You said you did chorus theater.
So I've been in choruses, like throughout school. And then I also sang with the St. Louis Symphony Chorus. And then I'm also like, I do a lot of theater. So like I'm very
So you
musical
like
theater.
plays, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Plays,
Okay, so
Broadway. Yeah.
you know how to lie. You know how to personally live act.
Yes. Yes.
How
I
difficult
consider
is that?
myself an actress. Yeah. It's tough to say that it's, difficult one way or the other. I guess it depends on the part, but for me, it's like I always draw from real life experiences. So, if it's like a particularly sad thing, it's like, let me think about the saddest moment in my life or, whatever, and like bring that emotion to the character. I'm an incredibly sensitive, emotional, expressive person. So acting kind of comes very naturally to me. It didn't always because I was a very shy child. And I'm actually still, if you can believe it, actually I'm introverted. Okay. So like the fact
Yeah,
that I do
you
what I
can't
do,
tell. Yeah.
the fact that I do what I do is confusing to people, but in social situations, I'm incredibly introverted. But when you put me on a stage, I am no longer an introvert. I am all of a sudden the biggest extrovert you've ever seen. So I don't find acting to be a challenge, but I also haven't done any like super dramatic or super challenging roles. I'm very much like a character actress, comedic actress.
Have
Um,
you only done theater, or have you actually done like on set cinema type recording acting?
no, I've only done theater. I've always wanted to do on set. I've always wanted to, do the Hollywood thing or do a TV show or whatever, but never actually done that. Um,
We'll talk
yeah.
after this. You and I can talk because you do know I make movies, so
Yes.
yeah, we could talk down the road. I'd enjoy that. So with this band, what kind of band was you in?
I was in a band that was like an 80s hair metal cover band.
So
Um,
hair metal to Taylor Swift.
yes,
Okay,
and
I
like
like that.
that pipeline is like whack, right? But so the band was with my dad and my stepmom, and my dad raised me on like the hair metal, the rock and roll side of things. And Taylor was always the exception to I'm a rock and roll girl. Like my favorite band in the entire world is Def Leppard. Like if that tells you anything about me, that's like they are my end all be all. And then it's Taylor. So
So
it's like
you got raised by good parents.
I
They
did,
taught you the
yes.
true music then.
Absolutely, yes. And
Okay.
I also it makes me a very snobby current music listener because I like hate all top 40. I hate everything except for like old stuff and anything that Taylor releases. um but when I joined the band, it was my dad's band and then my stepmom played bass and then I just like kind of helped out and did like background vocals. I was only 12, so like I couldn't play an instrument or anything. So just like background vocals on like 5 to 10 songs and I would make, $40 a show and I would have to find guardians to sit with me at the shows cuz I was underage and, like all of that stuff. And then so I've done everything as a singer. And so when I was approached about this project, I I just like freaked out. I was like, there's no way that this has quite literally flap that I can front a band in tribute to an artist that literally has my entire every stage of my life. I mean, um, so the passion really comes in with my love for Taylor. I mean, and my love for singing and putting them together.
Um, so you said like all top 40, you hate all that. So let me ask one question here.
Sure.
So with Def Leppard being your all time, and then Taylor Swift being the next thing,
Mhm.
not liking the top 40 and all that, do you still like different genres of music, or are you stuck with the classic rock and then just Taylor?
Good question. I definitely I love country. Okay.
Okay. Well,
But
I got to have that if you have Taylor. So
yes, but I love like 90s, mid 2000s country. Like whatever's going on today is not my vibe, other than Kelsey Ballerini, who I'm also obsessed with. I love that woman. But she's like more of like the pop country crossover, kind of like Taylor was, right?
Yeah. Kind of like
So,
that. Yeah.
but and then like I love Broadway, like I love show tunes. But like I've never really been into top 40 pop, top 40 hip hop, none of that. So, yeah, it's
So nobody's gonna ever catch you just jamming out to some Snoop Dogg somewhere.
that would be very unlike. I think he's great. I just think, I have a respect for a lot of artists that I don't prefer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Same
that's
way
kind of where
here.
I try to go. Like, is like, oh, I respect, like, there are very few artists where I'm like, I do not respect them at all. Actually, I think they're terrible.
I mean, I understand it because there's people's music I don't like, but their personaing and who they are makes up for that. And then there's people that I love their music, but I don't like the person.
Right. I totally agree with that. And I think also like music is so subjective. And it's like, who am I to say that Snoop Dogg is, not good music? Like, that's not true. That's objectively not true. Like, because it's great to the right person. And like, people don't like Taylor. There's so many people that don't like Taylor.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Like, trust me, I know. So like, I just think like,
I asked one lady about that. She was a Taylor Swift singer. They had no band. She kind of had the music, and it sounded good, and it was just her. And I
oh,
tried
that's
to
cool.
talk to her, and I was like, "Hey, would you be interested in doing an interview one time?" She goes, "About what?" I'm like, "You tour doing solo Taylor Swift music, and I'm trying to talk with someone that does anything Taylor Swift." She goes, "I hate Taylor. I just do it because I get money from it. Other than that, I don't even care about music." And I was like, "Oh,
Wait, that
okay."
blows my mind.
That's what I said. I was like, "Hold on, you're gonna sing music that you literally hate just to make money? I'm sure there's something else you can do."
That makes me sad. Like, that
But
makes me
I've
really
heard
like,
that a
she's not
few
even
times.
enjoying herself. Like, that sucks.
I've heard that a few times when I've asked to interview a musician or something. They'll be like, "Nah, man, I just do it for the money, man. I hate that music. It's just
Wow.
I can play that guitar." And they caught me one day and offered me a job, and it's good money. But otherwise, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't like doing it. I just do it for the money. I'm like, man, that's some weird shit. Just I've
That
never heard
is
that before.
that is actually insane. That breaks my heart. If you're not happy, don't do it.
But
Like, I don't.
that's me. Like I do this on the side note, but I could do a multitude of things. I love landscaping. I love it. I love to be outside and doing landscape architectural designing yards and taking care of it. And then you know, I've worked many jobs and I hate them. I'll work them for a few months. I'll work them for 90 days. I'll work them for 6 months, and then I got to go. I can't do it no more. And it puts me back into a bind.
Yep.
So when I talk with artists and wrestlers and actors, and it's a continuous motion for them, like you do it all the time. You travel and you tour, so it's a passion. And hearing that, that you do what you love to do, but you also have to have a 9 to 5 when you come home and take a break because it's a struggle and people don't realize that.
Yep. Yeah, it can be a lot. Like, sometimes I feel like I tell people I feel like Hannah Montana because I
Yep.
the way our tour works, most of my band has full-time jobs, if not multiple part-time jobs. And so therefore, we don't, and we also have families and, things like that. So it's like they don't want to be on the road, you know, 3 weeks out of the month or like for an entire month. So what we do is we structure it so it's like we all are home during the week and we're gone on the weekends. Like,
Okay.
so like because most of our shows are within, 8 hours of here. It's like it's a lot of driving, and it's an exhausting weekend, but you're back at work on Monday. And that's
What
what you
what
got to do.
what area of the country?
We live in the St. Louis area, so we,
So you're not far. You're like 5 hours from where I'm
yeah,
at.
yeah.
So you play within a 5 to 6? Do you get a lot of gigs around like where I'm at?
We've played Indiana only once, and we played Martinsville. It was one of our biggest shows of 2024. I think it was like a crowd of like 2,500. It was insane. We could not believe it. Like,
You hear that,
and
guys, right? You hear that? Want her back here. Back
it
here.
was so, we loved it. We loved it so. It was one of our favorite shows to date. It was just so much fun.
What
And
was
I
it?
think that
What was it for? Was it a fair? Was it just an
no, it
event?
was just it was at Cedar Creek Winery. So it was, they
Okay.
do like the Drink at the Creek series, and we headlined that. So they had a great opener. It's escaping me who opened, but they were amazing. They played for like 30, 45 minutes. And then we came on and did our hour and a half set, which it's crazy to me that we used to only do an hour and a half set, because now our show is over 2 hours.
Really?
The new one that I built. Yeah. Which I figured we would get into later. But yeah, the show at Martinsville was one of our favorite shows to date. It was just so big, and it was, you just look out and you're like, I can't even count how many people are out there right now. And it was so beautiful. So we'd love to play again. And then we're playing um August 1st at Eagles Theater in Wabash. So I don't know where that is in relation to
I
Indianapolis, but
believe Wabash is a few hours south of me.
well, if you want to make the drive, it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. But yeah, so we tour, basically our agent, he's a national agent, and he has contacts pretty much everywhere, but he just, for our band, he spoke to me, and I said, this is kind of the limit that I have. I want to do like 4 shows a month, and that's what we're all comfortable with. And here's the radius that we're comfortable with, because, life.
Exactly.
And then
Yes.
he just draws a big circle, and we go that far. So we do a lot of Iowa, we do a ton of Kentucky. We're going to Ohio for the first time this summer. And then, Indiana, we play Illinois, and then we do this year we're only doing like 3 local shows, like shows within an hour and a half of St. Louis. So everything
See,
else
that's
is out of
cool though.
town.
I like that though, because you go out and they're like, "Damn, when you coming back home? When you coming back home?"
Yeah.
And then it gets to be a bigger hometown crowd, because
Yes.
that's
Yeah.
that's good.
We played 2 shows in our hometown already. We only started shows in June of this year. And so our first show was at our, what we consider like our hometown venue, the Wildie here in the St. Louis area. And we played a sold out show there. Then they added an encore show. We played 1 show in Iowa in between, and then played the next week in that encore show, sold it out. So it was like, it's very special to us to be able to come home and have people that have been around since, 2023 when we started continue to show up for us. It's an amazing feeling. When this started, it was pretty much like, this is either going to go really, really well or really, really poorly, because Swifties, and I can say this because I am one, we love that woman. We love Taylor. So if you mess this up, you're done, like,
Yeah.
so there was a ton of pressure when we first started the band, and obviously on me. And the other thing that is very important to note is that, unlike pretty much every other Taylor Swift tribute, I am not an impersonator. I don't do that, because I just, in my heart, like, I have too much respect for her to have people thinking that I think I'm her, So I don't dye my hair. I don't lip sync. Everything is me. And then I, do my makeup Taylor inspired. And for this tour specifically, the costumes are basically replicas of her tour, but like, you're still getting me. I like to call it Taylor, Courtney's version. That's what I like to call it, because
I like that.
otherwise people get the wrong idea. And
Yeah.
also too, like, there are some people that want the impersonator. And I'm like, if you want an impersonator, go elsewhere. Like,
Right.
there's plenty and they're great, but that's not what I do. Like, so
That's like with mine when I was making my movie, Jason. I couldn't use anything. I couldn't impersonate him. I couldn't use factions of what Jason Voorhees was.
Mm,
I had to make my own version of Jason and the likeness of him and how he did his thing so I wouldn't get in trouble because I didn't have contracts and
right. Yeah, the
permissions.
rights and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I named my movie a tribute to Friday the 13th. Instead of a Friday the 13th fan film, I said it was a tribute because I wanted to keep everything mine but pay homage to what they did and make my own
Yeah.
movie. And I
Right.
did. And when people's like, hey, would you sign that photo? Or would you sign your DVD? I'd write Indie Jason instead of write just Samuel Schmucker Jason. I write Indie Jason because, like you said, you get you.
Yes.
And a lot of people want to believe that that's, like you said, people think that they are Taylor when they step on the stage. Off
Yes.
the stage, they act like Taylor, they speak like Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
they do the full impersonation, and then when they get back behind the stage, I've been there. That person is Courtney. I mean, and not to say it's you, but
Yeah. Yeah.
Brittany or
They're them. They're
somebody.
themselves. Yeah.
Yep.
And
And I
the
was like, why would you like that? I have to be. That's what they expect.
I
And
mean,
to
and
me,
yeah, it sells, it does well. Some people want that. And
I know.
I think that's great. That's just, it's when I was approached about this project, I was like, here's the thing. Here's my boundary. I will not wear a wig. I will not lip sync. I won't even change my own voice. Nothing that I do like, is is going to be like, "Oh, that girl sounds just like Taylor," or "That girl looks just like Taylor." Although it is kind of odd the amount of people that when they meet me in the meet and greet, they're like, "You do look like her." And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Like, I don't
You got a lot of similar when I that the one picture that you had that I seen when I came across your page, I was like, he was wearing the silver like dress,
Yes.
and that's the picture I seen. I was like, man, she looks just like Taylor. Let me go look
That's
at her.
hilarious,
And I
actually.
went and watched, and some of your actions and some of your poses and some of your photos when you take them,
Yeah.
you do have a like it, a quick look. You'd be like, is that?
Yeah, and I think I've been told that, and I think too, like, what people like genuine what I try to get across to people like that I really like in meet and greets and stuff is like when they come up to me and they're like, Taylor, Taylor, Taylor. I'm like, my name's Courtney. What's your name? It's so nice to meet you. I was like, do you love Taylor too? I love Taylor too. That's why I do this. Like I try to get it really like far across to them. But I think also subconsciously, I've absorbed so much of Taylor in my lifetime that when you're doing the songs and if you've watched the Fearless tour 18 million times by the time you were 14, your body might accidentally do something that she did on the Fearless tour or pose the same way that she did. You know what I mean? Like it's like in me at this point because of how much exposure I've had to her, being such a big fan. So I think sometimes like when you say like things like the poses and stuff like that, it's like some of that is intentional, but a lot of it is like, oops, didn't real this woman lives inside me at this point. Like, and
Yeah,
but yeah, the impersonator thing is something that I've always been very clear about. And it's why I think we're able to survive amongst the other tribute bands. Like a lot of them are very established, and they're in really large parts of the country. So it's like if they swoop in to a market before we get there, they've got that market, right? So, but the reason I think that we're able to do what we do is because I'm not an impersonator and this show isn't the Eras tour. Like I specifically built a show that was not the Eras tour because I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. I wanted to do something that I was really passionate about. So when the band first started, it was very much like, how many hits can we cram into an hour and a half? And we were balling on a budget. So like how many 4 costumes? Yeah, that's enough. That's good. We're good with that. Now I have 14 costumes. It's a 2.5 hour show. Everything is
is that a pain? The
um
costumes?
I wouldn't say it's a pain so much as it is the most stressful part of every show, because there are 14 quick
bet.
changes. The quick changes last between 30 and 45 seconds from one costume to another. And if I don't make it, there's nothing filling the time. In the past, the show has been very loose. So it's like you hop on the talkback mic backstage if you get stuck in something, if a zipper breaks, if something, hop on the talkback and say, stall, I need 25 seconds. And then one of my bandmates hops on the mic and says, you guys still with us? Or, whatever, comes
Okay.
out. Okay. But now I built the show so it is so seamless that the transitions that happen with the lights, audio, and props on stage are 30 to 45 seconds. If I am not back by the time that transition is over and the next prop and scene has started, we are screwed. So, and I built it that way because I wanted it to be very theatrical and very like scene based almost.
So do you have to? So when you arrive at a venue,
Yeah.
do you guys have to build your stage? Do you have to do anything at all, or is it just a quick setup?
It really depends on the venue. If it's like an indoor theater, it's more just like, my front of house manager and my band all sets up, all of the technical aspects of the show. They built light trusses for this show. We have 4 giant light trusses that they built. And
That's why I was asking, because that's
yeah,
what I wanted to find out. Because when you're saying that you're backstage doing a quick change,
yes,
the lights and everything are playing. I didn't know if that was your
yes.
stage or if the house does that. Because
The stage is the house, but everything that goes on the stage is ours.
okay.
So, and my guitar player Bailey, who's one of my best friends, I approached him with this idea for the show, and I said, "Listen, this is kind of what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it because I have all of the creativity, all the ideas, all of the Taylor knowledge and Taylor lore that you could ever want in your whole life. I own all of it in my brain because I love her, right? But I cannot execute audio or I don't know how to program lights, like none of that." So I approached him and I was like, "This is my idea. I want to build a show that is a theatrically inspired story from the beginning of Taylor Swift's life, like writing songs in her bedroom in high school to taking over stadiums. And I want to take the audience all the way through it. I want to hit every single album. I want props. I want lights. I want it to be very abstract. I want it to be very intentional. I want everybody in that audience that is a Swiftie to leave and say, holy cow, that was the most thoughtful interpretation of a Taylor Swift show I have ever seen. Like, and I want them to go, that girl up there, she loves that woman. Like, it was all built on my love for theater and my love for Taylor. And so when I approached my guitarist, who became my technical producer, he's like, yeah, I got it. Tell me what you want and we'll do it. And he came through, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so proud of this show, but it was so much work.
Do you have people with you that record and do your cameras and video?
We have I have a videographer that comes to shows occasionally. He just came to our past show, and he's building me a promo video right now that I can run for the rest of the year. And then photographers, usually from local areas, will usually reach out and ask. We do have one here at home, Scott, that normally comes to stuff really close to home. And then we have one about an hour away that's actually traveling with us this weekend to Paducah, named Brandon, who does photos for us sometimes. But mostly if we're in the area, somebody will reach out, or if they don't, I'll just be tagged in a bunch of stuff the next day and like not know about it until it pops up on our page. And I'm like, oh yeah, great. Someone got photos, And then my husband too, when he is at shows, he films content and stuff for us. So yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye out for you, and when you come close, I'll come down and do that for you.
That sounds great. I'll have a badge ready for you. I'll have credentials.
Right on. So tell us, we know you're passionate. We know you love her. We know that not only do you pay tribute to her, you stay original and you stay yourself. So tell everybody what you got coming up. What's on the plate now, and what do you have in the future?
Man, good question. Right now we just kicked off our tour. We kicked off our tour on June 6th, and we have a show pretty much every weekend until September. We are booked and blessed, is what I like to say. So it's just busy right now. It's just like now that the show is built, it's just making sure that merch is reordered, making sure that I'm keeping up social media content and posting frequently and getting ads up for shows that have tickets and, things like that. And let's see. I don't really know what's next. This show was so much work that I kind of want to run it for, a year probably before I would try to build something else.
I'm
But
gonna
I
ask
do.
a question on that, since you're saying
Yeah.
what you're going to be doing. You're booked up to September.
Mhm.
Are you going to be booking any more after? Are you looking to do it?
Yes, we just I think then our availability changes a little bit because we have holidays and stuff coming. So we have one show booked in December currently. I have one in October right now, but like everything else is pretty scarce. However, like our agent books 4 shows a month. So by the end of the, year, every month will be booked with 4 shows. I just know for sure that right now we are like out of town every single weekend pretty much until September, like end of September. So
After the show, I'm going to get with you and get some information from you.
sure.
And I work a few festivals up here. I work a few venues. I know some people. I'm going to get with them, and they book all over too. So
Okay.
and I'm going to get with them because I'd like to see you up here. And we have a national holiday every year for Indie Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And they had an impersonator that was a Taylor Swift.
Oh, cool.
We had Natasha Bedingfield this year
Oh my gosh.
as a headliner, and I got to do some video for her.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. My dresser is the person that does my quick changes backstage. She's also my best friend. Her name's Danielle, and she tours with me. And her favorite song of all time is Unwritten. Anytime we're in the car on the way to a show, she is belting the heck out of that song. So she would love to hear that. She would love to hear that she headlined.
Well, I know that they would love to have someone like you who is an original content singer, not someone that's, like you said, not personally. They would love you. I'm going to put them in touch with you because I think that'd be a phenomenal show right there. And
I
they
loved it.
They had 4,800 people there.
That's awesome.
At Natasha's show. So,
period. I mean, she's a queen, so I'm sure that was a big hit.
So with after September, do you have are you keeping the show the same for into the new year?
Yeah, I think so. We currently have one show booked for the end of January. So I'm kind of toying with the idea now, like, do I want to run this show through next summer, or do I want to switch it up? I have the hiccups. I'm so sorry. Do I want to switch it up after after that show? Do I want that like end of January show to be the last stop of this tour? It's called the Long Live Tour. It's called Long Live the Journey of Taylor Swift. That's the name of our show and the name of the tour. So do I want to create something then new, but the thing is, like, we already survived a 6+ month break where we weren't performing. I had orthopedic surgery in February, and the pain was so bad in my foot that I had surgery on that in November of last year, I called the agent and I said, hey, no more shows until, like, I already know I'm having surgery. I don't know when, but like, I can't, this show is an hour and a half long, and these heels, I absolutely cannot do it. Like, I am dying. And then I got married in December. And so
congrats.
Thank you. So it just worked out to just like take a pause. And then I spent I scheduled my surgery for February, and I spent January through April building this show. So, and then we, went into dress rehearsals, went into all the finishing details, and then started touring in June. So realistically, I don't want to take another long break. I just want it to be like, okay, while I'm touring on this show, I'm actually secretly building a brand new show. And so then when we start the next tour, it's like, okay, we finish at the end of January or we finish in March. And then by May or by, the next month, surprise, there's a new show. I already built it.
That's how I am. I work on a movie script or something, and then I start filming it, and I start working on the next one while I'm currently filming and still hashing out the one I'm on.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. I'm kind of an Energizer bunny. I don't really stop. I have a productivity problem. I like to always be doing something. Recovering from surgery mentally was the worst thing ever. Just having to sit still and not move and, all of that stuff. And I was like, on my laptop, I was like, set list and okay, what are we going to do with this? Props. Okay. It was it's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to rest. So,
and when you were resting, you were thinking.
Oh yeah. When I wasn't sleeping. Yes.
Did you ever
right after surgery, it was a lot of sleep.
Have you ever woke up and went straight to the notebook or your laptop and done something?
No, not out of sleep, but I do I'm a very much like a to-do list person or like a notes person. And I keep I live and die by my actual physical planner. I don't put anything in my phone. It's all written down. So if something popped in my head, it probably went on the fridge. I have a giant calendar and a to-do list, like a dry erase. And as I would think of things for the week that needed to be done, they just get written on the fridge. And then at the end of the week, I go and check them off. And I'm like, okay, cool. These are all done. Great. Oh, missed that. Okay, I'm doing that right now. I'm very type A. So
I like that. That's good though. That makes sure you don't, like, I'm 47. So if I don't put it in the calendar or something, I'm not going to remember it. And so
I always say, if it's not in the calendar, I'm not coming. So don't be like, hey, do you want to hang out in an hour? The answer is no, I don't. If it's not in my calendar, then I haven't been prepared for it.
So are you like with a lot of different artists that go on tour, some go back to the hotel, some go into the bus and just sit. Others, I'll be back in an hour and a half, or I'll be back. What do you do after a show?
After a show? Well, I always do a free meet and greet. After every single show, that's usually between an hour and a half. While that's happening, my amazing band and front of house manager are tearing down, getting everything. My dresser is packing up all my clothes, all my shoes, all 15 pairs of shoes, all 14 costumes, and figuring out and packing up the props and just getting everything together. And then after that, I'm normally literally about to eat someone's face. I'm so hungry. Because I don't eat before a show. I move around so much that if I eat even something light before a show, I will not feel good. So I try to stay stocked on protein throughout the day. And then 3 hours before the show, I stop eating. And then switch to water and hot tea and cough drops and stuff like that. But after, I'm usually starving. So I'm usually like, what's open? It's midnight. What is open? Can I get it? And if not, then I'm going to the hotel and trying to ransack the, the little store that they have there where they're like, do you want some Nutter Butters or what do you want? And you're like, you have to eat what's available. And some venues are so nice and they'll be like, your post-show snack is pizza and wings. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest day ever. But mostly I am looking for food anywhere. I'm like a rat. I am searching for the cheese and I need it yesterday. I am starving. And then
most of the shows I've done security for or I've worked and done something at, they've always catered them. They've always had something in the back in the green room. So is that usually gone by the time you get done?
Yes, because my band always eats before. So, and I make it pretty clear to venues normally hey, I don't eat before. So and my bandmates aren't picky. So it's whatever is convenient for you. If it's like something that I like really want, I will normally like have my husband or my dresser set aside like a plate for me. But if I don't do that, then yes, it's gone. Because they all know we're going to go find food after somewhere, like whether it's like we're ordering pizza at 1 a.m. or someone found pizza rolls, you know, at a convenience store or whatever. Like we will find food. It will be fine.
It's
you
called
know,
scavenger hunt now.
yeah, no, it really is. That's really what end of show is. And I like,
Oh my Lord, yes.
the after show is one of my favorite things. It's because that's just band bonding time. You know, we're all amped, so no one's really tired. Like you are tired, but you don't know it. And so you're just like, you're amped, your adrenaline is like going nuts, and you're like, let's all go back to the hotel and like chat and like laugh. And like, so we like go get food, and then we all pile into one person's double room, you know, and just like talk about the show and laugh about what went wrong, or like funny things that happened, or like whatever, or talk about our feelings, our trauma, whatever, you know, it's the best. And then your alarm goes off and it's 5 a.m. and you're like, oh, I didn't go to bed. My bad.
Yep. Yep. I've done that with working with bands or artists. I've done that a couple times.
Yeah.
Hey man, it's 2:30 in the morning, man. I got to get home. I holler. I got
Yeah.
a 2-hour drive. I got to go.
I know. And it's crazy. That's happened to us multiple times where we'll like be hanging out and we're like, oh yeah, you know, it's probably like 1, 2 in the morning, like who knows? And then like an hour later, my alarm to get up and leave goes off and it's 6 a.m. and you're like, none of us went to bed and we have to leave like in an hour. Like
I did some photo. I took some photos with a couple artists one day after a show. We just out back. We were talking, chilling. I was just like snapping different photos. And he just posted them a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, man, I remember this day. If it wasn't for these photos from Sam, I wouldn't even be remembering the memories I've got now. Right on, Sam. We're looking out for this. And he's like, anytime, come to a show, capture it.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
You know,
Yeah.
those are when you remember the good times.
Yes. No, it's special. It's special times. It's like
Because there's no stress.
the only stress is like, don't forget your toothbrush in the morning when you leave in a hurry and like get back home. You know, you're going on a long drive probably, but like after a show, you're just like, you're fully relaxed. I mean, like after a meet and greet, I am like, get these tights off of me. Because I wear like, you know, like 2 pairs of tights or whatever, like get these off of me. I need my comfy clothes. I'm taking my lipstick off immediately. I need I need to just like relax. You're just on. Like I'm on from, you know, as a person, I have to be on from 7 p.m. until midnight, basically. I have to stay on for the whole meet and greet, meaning like extroverted.
Yeah. Now you're ready to crawl back into the shell.
Yeah. Now I'm like, oh my God, how many awkward interactions did I have tonight? Let me think about that for 4 years. Like, what did I say to that 8-year-old? Gosh, I'm such a weirdo. Why do I talk to anyone? Like, and they don't know, like they're just so excited to meet me, which is also quite uncomfortable. Like it just doesn't register for me. You know, when I'm signing autographs and stuff, I'm like, do you know that I'm a medical coder? Like, you know, like, do you know that that's what I do in my real life? It just feels so crazy.
Have you met some like fanatical fans?
Yes.
Like where you had to have somebody like security.
Not like to a dangerous level for sure. No. There have been a couple like what I call like tag-alongs. Like they don't know when to bounce. And it's usually like parents of a kid that don't like they're talking to me for 25 minutes, you know, and I'm like, their parents are, yeah, or yeah, something, you know, something like that. But the craziest thing is we played a show at a legendary St. Louis venue called Del Mar Hall, and it was like a bucket list item for my band to play this venue. And we reached that goal like 6 months before we thought we would. And it was so exciting. And we sold it out. And it was such a crazy night, and they were walking me from backstage to, like, I had to walk outside and around to get to my meet and greet location after the show. And some parents and kids were like already leaving. And I ran into one, and she started, like, a little kid, and she started sobbing, like, just verklempt that she was meeting me.
The little
And
girl or the parent?
no, the little girl, she was probably like 8 or 9. So, like, old enough that I'm like, she knows that, like, that I'm not Taylor, like,
Yeah, she
it's
knows
not
she's
like a
not,
little
but
3-year-old that genuinely thinks Taylor Swift is playing this festival in Iowa. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But it's like, when she started crying, it was the first time that had ever happened. And I started crying. Like, I didn't know, I was just so overcome with emotion and appreciation for what I do. And I was like, this is the craziest feeling. And I don't know what to do with this little girl except hold her and tear up with her and cry with her and be like, you are just the sweetest thing. Did you know I'm just like you? I love her too. Like, that's the point of this whole thing. So it's crazy. But thankfully, like, in terms of like the weird vibes, haven't really dealt with that. And I've been, doing this for 2.5 years now. So pretty safe.
That's not. I only ask because some of the artists that I know that are females, and I some post it, some don't, and I've asked,
Mm.
and a lot of them get that harassment being a female doing what you do.
You can get the harassment. I'll get it in like the DMs,
Only
like,
that, yeah. Well,
yeah.
that's good because they go through it in person, and it's gotten to some points, and that's why I was
Yeah,
asking because
I always, not this year, but in previous years, my husband was my dresser. So, and then this year he wasn't, so I had to hire out. But so he was always the one taking me to the meet and greet, and then he was always the one standing next to me all the time. And he's a 6'1" dude. He looks intimidating, like, so I think that really helps. But now I usually have the venue staff, my dresser, and, whatever bouncer or whoever
yeah,
is near, just
whoever's
keeping an
free.
eye out. And I'm an incredibly anxious person. So I'm very much like head on a swivel at all times. Like, I am very observant. So if I see even anything that I'm like, this is not vibing with me, like, I let someone know before it becomes an issue, because
Yeah,
I'm too anxious.
yeah, I completely understand that. So do you plan on doing music videos to just any type of like, I don't know if I want to say music videos. I'd say more like a documentary of what you've done and why you do it.
So, we have a wonderful friend of the band. His name's Terry Williams, and he lives here in the St. Louis area. And he approached us last year about doing like a documentary. And so he followed us around. I think it was like for 3 shows. He came with us and did like little interview questions here and there, and then like would follow us around backstage and like through like the getting ready process and like all of that sound check, all of the ins and outs of what goes on. And he's working on editing and putting that together. So I'm excited to see that. I've seen like little clips of it here and there, and like little promo videos that he's posted of the documentary itself. But yeah, so I would love to have all of the footage, of these years, to watch them for years to come, or when I'm 80 years old, like, that is the cool thing though about what I do with my age, is that I am just 5 years behind Taylor. So it's always going to make sense. Like, it's always going to be believable that this is what I do, like, even if Taylor is still touring in her 60s, which God, I hope she is, because I'll be there. Like, 55-year-old Courtney might be doing whatever you know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be possible. It's just how long the the success lasts, really. Like, how long can we ride this out? Because we're incredibly lucky.
So, let's see. Have you met Taylor yet?
Oh, God, I would pass. I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be dead.
Have you been there? How many shows have you been to?
I went to the Reputation Stadium tour in 2018, and I went to the Eras tour in Kansas City on night one when she dropped Speak Now, Taylor's version. So I've seen her twice. They were both life-changing experiences. I cried the whole time. Like I said, very emotional, very sensitive person. I'm a happy crier. So
Taylor's been here in Indianapolis twice, I think. 2 times, I think. One was just last year, I believe, in November.
Yes. Yeah, she dang near finished the Eras tour in Indianapolis. She only had like 2 shows after that.
And then she had one before that here. I got a bumper sticker from it. It's a black one, and it's Taylor in gold, but I don't remember the name. Redemptions or something like that.
Reputation.
That's the one that was here too.
Yeah, that was 2018.
And now when they reached out for me to do security, and I just couldn't do it because her rules are some of the strictest I have ever read. Like, you cannot, if I'm standing here looking at the corner was where I was going to be posted at on the walkout, and I was going to be on the left, or if you're on the stage, I would be on your right at that corner at the end of the walkout.
Yeah.
And I had to stand there, and I had to watch to my left in front of the stage and to my right to the side of the stage. I had to watch that area, and if I turned around at all, fire, gone.
Yes, I've heard this before.
Your phone, it had to be locked in the locker downstairs, and you had to give them the combination in case you got arrested for breaking one of the other 3 rules, which was showing if anybody in front recorded live and you were caught live singing the song, like moving your lips at all, they were going to fire you. And because it was live, they were going to have you arrested for breaking the contract that you signed. You would only get a Class C misdemeanor, but you'd be arrested and released right on the spot. But they'd have access to your phone.
Yep.
I was like, wait a minute, I'm okay with that, but damn, I wanted to go because I worked so many shows doing everything.
Yeah.
Doing security, I figured I could turn around, working at the stage, and be like, she's right behind me. It's cool shit, right?
Yeah.
And I read that. I was like, damn, I can't. She's right literally above my head. I cannot turn around. Are you serious? She is 1 foot from me, and I can't. No, I can't work that show. I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard all of that before, on TikTok and stuff, of like the different security guards for the Eras tour and like how all of that worked, and people that got fired for the same things. And it's interesting, but you also, like, when you are of that magnitude, you have to be so careful.
Yeah, Pink Floyd is my favorite band, next to Skillet. So
okay,
I got to go see Roger Waters. Yeah, you're right. Yes, those are my two all-time favorite bands, Pink Floyd and Skillet. So
that's cool.
I got to go see Roger Waters, and I was in the nosebleeds, but I will never forget that moment. That's a resolutional moment for me, like a pivotal thing in my life. That was like number 1 bucket list, was to go watch Pink Floyd, and Roger Waters was the voice of Floyd. So I got what I wanted.
That's awesome.
And 2010, I was in a bad place, and I was at that moment to say goodbye. We'll just say that. And Skillet's song "Awaken Alive" came on the radio, and the opening with the violins and the guitar just absolutely stopped me in my tracks. I was like, what is this? I'm listening to a rock and roll station, and this comes on, and it didn't sound rock and roll, but it sounded real interesting. So I stayed for the whole thing. Then I tuned in every day from that moment trying to find him, and I caught him again. And I got to meet Skillet a few years ago. I've been to like 9 shows. I got to
Mhm.
meet him one time, and then I did the meet and greet. And then last 2 years ago, I was backstage and I got to take my son who loves Skillet. We were backstage. I knew all the security guards and the tour manager by them doing all the things I've done. He was like, I want to go see Skillet. And I'd taken him once. So I took him again. And this time he didn't know what was going to happen. But I took him. And when I got him backstage, he got to meet the whole band and got a picture with them. And that was like the second most pivotal thing. So
Mhm.
I know exactly where you come from when you talk about, the love for Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's how I feel, not so much as for Roger Waters. It's the band. And with Skillet, again, it's the band. And, that moment with my son, because I had only got to meet a few of them before. And the
Mhm.
band was like that quick, take a photo, thank you, how you doing, bye
Yep.
bye,
Yeah, yeah,
leave.
yeah. Really quick. Yeah.
No talking.
Yep.
But this time, I caught it on video. It's on my YouTube. I posted it, and after that video was done, we stood off to the side for like 10, 15 minutes. We got to talk with all the band. It was a filling moment. My son was there. He got to hand them towels after the end of the show when they came off before the
Aw.
encore. We passed them out their towels, and he got to bring them home. It was, so when you get an opportunity to meet her, take it. I know that's an
Yeah.
expensive moment because I looked at the prices for something that is like
She
that's
doesn't even
that's
sell them.
she don't do them no more.
She doesn't do them anymore, and I think that there's multiple reasons for that. I think the number one thing, because she never she did used to sell them, but
Yeah,
then from, like, I think, like, Fearless forward, or maybe 1989 forward, you were handpicked from the audience.
yeah, I've heard that being like in different costumes or different stages.
Yes.
Yeah,
So, usually Andrea, her mom, and then part of Taylor Nation, whatever representative, would pick like 2 or 3 people from the show and escort you backstage, and that's how you meet. And then some people, like, had really big social media presences on Tumblr and stuff back in the day, and that's how you're invited to, like, the secret sessions, which is where she invites you to her house, and you get
wow,
to look at, or you get to listen to an album before it is released. And she makes you cookies, and you get to take a picture and chat with her, and like the whole night is, there's like 50 of you, and you get to do
damn.
that. But like those are like the OG, like very active on Tumblr, very active on MySpace
What do they
fans.
do? They're just fans. They don't sing. They don't do nothing. They're just posting
Yeah, they're
all
just
Taylor.
literally fans, because Taylor used to be incredibly active on MySpace and Tumblr when she first started, and that's how she built her fan relationships, and that's how she built that really close connection. And so, but now, she did that in the Reputation tour as well, but now with the Eras tour, I think the magnitude of the tour was so big that she couldn't risk getting sick. That's what I think is the reason she
Wow,
stopped doing it. So they never pick anyone out. They never bring anyone back there. Anybody that you've seen backstage at the Eras tour is someone that already knows her, or someone that, was some sort of celebrity guest. And that's why she always, every time the Eras tour, there was an Eras tour show, everything on TikTok would be like, who's in the tent? Who's in the tent this year, or this show? Who's in Phoenix? It's like, oh, it's Mariska Hargitay and some other actress that you are like, why are they there? And then, oh, Brad Pitt's there. And then, oh, okay, Selena Gomez is there. And you're like, okay. And everybody's in the tent, and that's where they go. And then they all get to go backstage and see her after or before, but like, she doesn't do those meet and greets anymore. So you can't
and
even
see,
buy them.
I think, I think that happened not too long after that guy grabbed her butt at that photo opportunity.
Yeah, that was a radio guy. And that,
Yeah,
yeah, that I'm sure that affected things as well, because I mean, she went to court for that.
yeah.
So,
So yeah, At least you don't have that problem.
Yeah, no, I haven't had that problem yet. No, hopefully, knock on wood. They will get punched in the face by me. So I don't stand for any of that.
No, that's good. I'll punch him in the lip. I like that.
I or kick them, like I'm just, you're not, I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. Like
No, you gotta
I
make
very much like say in the meet and greet line, there's like certain things that like, I won't be the bad guy, like it's
yeah.
supposed to be one picture per group. Like if you came with a group, you only get one picture and I will only sign one thing per person and whatever. And that's what like the line organizer is supposed to tell everybody. But if they get to me and they say, can you sign this, 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 and this? I'll never say no, right? I can't be the bad guy. But if you touch my butt, I will be the bad guy.
Like I said, ain't no autographs for you tonight.
Absolutely not.
Just when you go home, you can tattoo right there where them little red knuckles are. Well, Courtney, I want to say thank you for at least stopping in and taking time to talk with me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yes, it has. Doing all these different shows, and being able to understand what you say, because when I started doing this, I had to ask questions. And then now that I've worked a lot of different shows from start to finish on all aspects of things, I like being able to ask certain things and for our fans too, because a lot of people don't know what goes on backstage. They just have or before a show. They have no clue what goes into it. And
I know. I try to really focus my TikTok content on that, like doing venue tours and like this is where I change and like this, because I think that stuff is so interesting.
yes.
And like, I do like little get ready with me's for the makeup so I can talk about, what the show was like that day or how sound check went, or sometimes I'll do like a day in the life vlog, like I think that stuff is so interesting.
That's why when I go to a show, I like to be there. If I had like with you, if I said, "Oh, you're coming to Wabash," if I can make it, I'm like, "Hey, what time are you going to arrive?" And that way, if I have your permission, I want to be there because I like watching everybody's way they load in. I help half the time, anyways, if I'm allowed. I load stuff in. I've only set up one time with a band, but I've watched bands set up. I've watched them get everything ready. You come and find you at the hotel or the bus or the green room and say it's sound check, and you come out for an hour and do that. I love watching all that because it's interesting to see how every individual person does it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the process is so different from band to band as well, and from show to show, and it is so different, especially like with the outdoor shows as well. Like that's a completely different thing. That's like, I don't know where I'm changing. I have to figure that out. I have to figure out where my costumes are going to go, that they're not going to get muddy. I have to figure out what the acoustics are like. I have to figure out, oh, we can't use that prop here. The stage isn't big enough. Like all of that stuff happens, in those 2 or 3 hours before the show. And then you're getting a brand new show every single night because we have to pivot every time we arrive at a different place.
Well, I will make sure at the end of this that everybody will know where to find you and how to get in touch with you if they want to book you. Book her, because I'm going to try. Thank you for being with us, and I wish you the best of luck with everything in the future.
Thank you. You can follow us on Instagram at TaylorMadeBand13. You can find us on Facebook under the same. And we have a website, tailormadeband.com. And if you want to book us, there's a booking tab on there. You just click it, fill out the form, and we'll be in touch. We're on TikTok too. We're on TikTok too. TaylorMadeBand13.
I'll make sure all those links are in the comments below the video.
Perfect.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Courtney.
Thank you.
No problem.